Well, good afternoon, and welcome once again to the Expert Spotlight podcast. My name is Gordon Van Wechel, and I'm your host. In this podcast, we explore the power of strategic marketing, branding, and business growth. And if you're looking to elevate your business, stand out in your industry, and create lasting impact, you're in the right place. And if you're one of those entrepreneurs who, like me, sometimes feel totally overwhelmed and not sure how you're going to get things done, you're going to appreciate our guest today. Gabrielle Mills is the president. Her company is called Sourced, and they offer back office support in a number of key work areas, targeting smaller businesses, small and medium sized growing businesses. So, Gabrielle, welcome. Thank you so much for joining me.
Thanks for having me, Gordon. It's a pleasure to be here.
Well, there's so many questions I have about what you do and how you work with business owners. So let's just jump right in if that's okay.
Let's do it.
Get start by just sharing with our audience a little bit of your journey, how you happened to start this company. Where were you before you became the president of Sourced?
Yes, I was not doing anything that I'm doing now. Completely, a complete life change. So I started this business with my business partner quite young. I was only 26 years old. So I didn't have a lot of years of experience under my belt, but I first started an internship with a large hospitality hotel company. Interned in their marketing and branding department, and that led me to a job in that department that I worked for 6 years. All the while, my business partner and I were trying to figure out what we wanted to do in the entrepreneurial path. And when we finally figured out the Sourced concept, I quit my job. Uh, Got rid of my lease, moved into my mom's basement. My mom is my business partner, so we basically lived and worked together and started Sourced.
Well, you're not the first entrepreneur to move home so that you could afford to start your business.
Yeah, all good entrepreneur stories start with a basement or a garage or some kind of spot
Yeah,
like that.
I had a guest a couple of weeks ago who actually sold her wedding dress so that she could buy business cards and join a couple of organizations to start her business.
Good
So,
for her. I love the
absolutely.
hustle.
Yeah, the origin story is always so
It
exciting.
is, it is. And they're always fascinating. And part of why we do what we do at Sourced is because we wanted to serve entrepreneurs in that way. That's why we came up with this concept, and why they speak so much to us is because people like that deserve to be recognized and awarded and rewarded for their hard work. And they deserve to get help along the way. So that's one of the reasons why we started the company.
Yeah, absolutely. So, who is your ideal client, Gabrielle? What is specific business niches, or are you niche agnostic, or who do you like to work with?
So typically we work with small to mid-market companies. And that means a lot of different things to a lot of different people, which is
Hmm.
perfectly fine. We generally start with businesses that, or work with businesses that are about 5 years old and higher. Revenue is generally around 2 million and higher. We've got two different sides of our business. So Sourced is a back office services company. One side of the business is fractional, and we do full cycle accounting. We have a full scale marketing agency. We do fractional HR, and we do fractional administrative support. And then on the other side of our business, we have another department, talent acquisition, where we do full time direct hire placements for people. So the clients we serve on the fractional end of our business are very different than the talent acquisition ones. The fractional side is usually smaller companies. They're probably 2 to 50 million. And then the talent acquisition side can range anywhere from, I mean, we'll help anybody. We've helped hire somebody's first hire. But generally, they're around that 10 to $20 million mark to start and north of there.
Now, when you say fractional, that usually implies a short-term engagement. Is that true in your case?
No, we provide ongoing support. And usually our clients are with us for years. It's the people that we work really well with are the ones that they need the support. They just don't need it at a full-time level yet. They need they need the help, but they don't want to or can't or just shouldn't pay a full-time person to do that. Like an accountant, for instance. Well, most people come on board and they're like, they come to us and they're like, I need an accountant full time. And then we start talking to them about their business and we're like, do you? Because I think for your business size, you only need a couple hours a week, and then we'll scope it out, and we end up being a significant cost savings to them. So that's kind of the fun part of our business, Gordon, is we get to see lots of different ways that we can do it, and it's not cookie cutter. We can create all sorts of neat, creative solutions to help people.
Yeah, that's pretty exciting, and it gives you the opportunity to work with a lot of different business niches,
Yeah.
and at least in my experience, you can cross pollinate. One day you're working with a CPA, but some of the things that are integral to their business are going to apply to a fencing contractor that you might be talking with the next week. So, your experience lets you cross pollinate and really help your clients in different niches.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, you're in a really competitive industry. I mean, there's just placement companies everywhere.
Hmm.
Uh,
It can be competitive. Yes.
yeah. What's your value proposition that makes you stand out from all of that competition?
Well, I used to get the question a lot in our early years, who are your competitors? And I used to answer that question by saying everybody and nobody, and that still applies. So if you look at our business department by department, there's 100 million accountants out there. The same with recruiting firms and same with marketing agencies. There's not one place that has it all under one roof. There is a company out of, if they're still open, Kansas, that does this for law firms, but even they don't provide all of the services that we do. And we're industry agnostic, they only do law. So there's on the one hand, you can say that the market's really saturated, but on the other hand, it's not really. Especially now, people have gotten wise to outsourcing, much to my dismay. Yes, for it's great for educational purposes, but a lot of the outsourcing is going overseas,
Yes.
and we don't do that. Everything that we have is all the people that we have and all the services we provide are onshore. Um, so our value proposition is one, that we're on shore and that there's not another company that does it like we do. But really where our differentiators come in is the quality of service that we provide and our pricing. So you can go to I'm going to use accounting and talent acquisition as examples because those are our most popular services. You can go to an accountant or a bookkeeper and get your books done. They likely, I have not seen it done to the level of depth and meticulousness that we require from every single account that we have here. The way that we manage it and oversee the day to day of financials is really, really deep, and we're really, really stringent. So that's processes on our fractional side are very unique. And the processes on our talent acquisition side are, but definitely the differentiator for talent acquisition is our pricing. We're 10 to 15 percentage points lower than a typical staffing firm or recruiting firm. We do that intentionally. A lot of people have told us otherwise to change our pricing because we want to be able to serve the small to mid market companies. And frankly, we don't want to compete with all of the other recruiting firms out there. It's a very easy differentiator saying, I can save you 10 percentage points on your recruiting fee.
Yeah, that can be huge. Uh, So your people are all across the country. Your fulfillment people.
Yeah, yes, yes, and they're also here in. We're based out of Peachtree Corners, Georgia, which is a suburb of Atlanta. For all the listeners who don't know the geography of Atlanta, so our office is located in Peachtree Corners. We have 9 full time people working out of this office, but we also have a bunch of people working part time, full time, contract all across the country. I think the last time I looked, we were at 42 people remotely.
Yeah, the internet is made the whole world flat.
That was the biggest change that we saw in COVID. It made things, at first, we were really nervous about how COVID was going to affect our business. And we were about 50-50 doing work on site for clients and the other 50 virtual. COVID shifted everything virtual, and our talent quality shot through the roof. We still have some people that we've had since before COVID happened. I mean, we've always had really good quality people. But we were getting good people in the middle of nowhere, Montana and Wyoming and Arizona and all sorts of these places that they wanted remote work. And I could not believe the talent that I could tap into when I let people work wherever the hell they wanted to work.
Yep. Yeah. And I think COVID also helped business owners understand that they don't necessarily need to see butts in seats every day
Mhm.
uh, and still get the job done.
There are some roles. That's why we have 9 people in the office. There are our talent acquisition team is here in the office. That our company is extraordinarily collaborative. People come in and one, they don't believe us when we say how collaborative we are. And then it almost is like borderline unhealthy, but it's actually so healthy. It seems like it should be unhealthy, but it's not. The talent acquisition team is so collaborative that they really need to be in the same space. They can't, the way that the model is built, it's really difficult to do when somebody is remote. Even though the work itself is remote, the team interactions are is really critical for them to be together. It's just easier that way. Our management team is here for the same kind of reasons. None of all of us could do our jobs remotely, but it's just easier to walk across the hall or someone's running to the bathroom. We're like, hey, I got a quick question. So all the management has agreed that we prefer to be in the office. And we also have some of our account managers are here. We have some that are remote, but we've learned over the years that the speed of learning the role is much faster when they're in the office. And the development is richer. So we try to find people that are local so we can get them off up to the races faster. They can collaborate more. So there are some roles that we've really embraced as you do not need to be in the office, and then there are some that we know it really just works better that way.
Yeah. So a lot of your work is providing, what you call fractional team members for companies. How do you identify those people? How do you vet them? I mean, if I came to you and said, I need an accountant for my company and I only need them 8 hours a week. Yeah. How do you put the right person with me?
Yeah. It is an art and a science. In the beginning, when we didn't know as much of the science, we relied on the art. I mentioned that Chrissy and I weren't doing anything like we're doing now. So we've had to learn a lot of these like just critical pieces about how to do what you're asking. In the beginning, what we did know is people. And so in the beginning, we just inherently had a knack for matching people up. And we were more of a matchmaker at the time for fractional. Now, one accountant does not have one client. They don't go off and have their own relationship. We found that while that model works for a lot of companies, the quality couldn't be policed and standardized when we did it that way. So now we operate more of each department operates as its own firm, and each of those departments have specific scopes of work. So we don't take what the client says they think they need at face value. We used to. We used to say, okay, you need 10 hours a week, 8 hours a week. That's what we would give you. And then we would learn they actually need more, they actually need less. They were just giving us a guesstimate. So over time, we've been in business for 9 years. We've learned how to calculate this out down to the seconds. And we have an algorithm that we basically put the data into for, I'm just more talking about accounting specifically, that we put like how many transactions, how many accounts, what services do you need offered, how many people do you have, and it spits out a timing that we need in order to fulfill it, how much account management is required based on what we know, and how does that translate in terms of price. Now for something like marketing, it's more project based, so it's easier to determine, okay, what website do you need, how many pages, what's the content looking like. We take the same approach, but we just do it a la carte based on what it is that they need, because it's easier to understand, like, hey, I need social media, I need a website, I need SEO, and we just kind of package it up. So it just depends on what service you're getting from us, and we've created a science around how we determine what it is that you need, regardless of if you know or no or not. We will tell you what the data says.
Interesting. So it is somewhat scientific, as you said earlier.
It is. It is. And then I guess I didn't answer your question of, well, how do we then match people, because that is still an important part. We're a very people centric company. You know who your account manager is. You talk to them all the time. You know who your accountant is. You talk to them all the time, or your marketer or your HR person. Like, there are personal relationships that are developed. Um, I look at the experience of the people that are going to be on the account. I look at their capacity. There's more people than just me, obviously. And we look at the culture of the company and the culture of the person that's going to be our client. And we just generally know our people, and we're like, yeah, I think these two people will make a good fit together. Yes, I think this account manager will make a good fit for this. Sometimes we're not right. And sometimes, I mean, very rarely do we have to make a change, but um, usually we're pretty good about saying, yeah, these two people are going to work together because they're both really type A. They both really care about detail, or this client is kind of all over the place. He needs somebody that is okay with a little bit of all over the place, and they can get them there, which is a different person that like has to have everything buttoned up in the beginning. I don't want to put somebody who needs everything figured out with somebody that doesn't have everything all figured out. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I really do, and it's especially if you're working with smaller companies or entrepreneurial business owners. I mean, that's a way of thinking and a way of working that's sometimes hard for a more analytical person to deal with.
Yeah.
So finding that match was kind of behind my question because I've had key people in my companies in the past that, you know, basically they'd go to one of the other managers and say, you go ask him this question because I get crazy when I talk to him.
Yeah. Yeah. And you learn people over time. We've been doing this a long time, and you learn, you never really get it right. Really, where we get into trouble is when things are scoped inappropriately. And so it's really important for us to make sure that the scope is correct, that we're giving our team enough time to be able to fulfill the scope. We're giving our clients enough communication time to be able to feel completely supported by their account managers. It's really that work that is behind the scenes that belongs with me and the people that price these accounts that really enable the account to be successful. Because if the account isn't profitable, our team members are not happy because we're breathing down their neck to stay within scope. Or if the client's not happy because they're not getting enough face time with our team, we don't want that either, but we also don't want to be losing money. So it's really making sure that the price is in line with what the client needs and expects, so we're not over budget, but then our team members have enough to be able to deliver a successful product as well.
So you're really talking about managing expectations, and that's a
Yeah.
challenge. That's a challenge.
Yeah, I mean, that's big. That's big. It's big from the first conversation all the way down until the last day of an engagement, which we never really know when that is because we love to keep clients for years and years. So we we hope that they never leave.
Well, you've given us a lot of insight about your business and how you and your mom have structured this and the success you've had. I want to switch gears a little bit now and do what I call our lightning round. And this is going to give our viewers an opportunity to learn a little bit more about you personally as one of the owners of the company. So I'm going to ask you a question, and I'd just like you to respond with the first thing that comes to mind.
Gosh, okay. I hope I don't say anything bad or inappropriate.
Now, the questions aren't going to lead you in that direction unless that's just.
Gosh, okay, here we go.
Here we go. Coffee or tea?
Coffee,
Dogs or cats?
dogs,
What's one business tool that you just couldn't live without?
business tool that I couldn't live without. I was going to say these questions were easy, and then you threw one that I'm like, oh, I don't know. Okay, this is a little bit of a story, but I'm going to say my CRM. And the reason that it's a story is because I actually started with my CRM on day one and then didn't see the value of it. And I killed it and I went years without it. And it wasn't until really last year that I resurfaced it because I was advised to. And now I really see the value of it. And I wish I would have stuck with it from the beginning.
I get that. What's your favorite quote or phrase about success?
Favorite quote or phrase about success? I don't have one. There's so many good ones, and nothing's really coming to mind.
That's
I'm
okay.
gonna say what?
You can pass.
Yeah, let me pass on that one.
Okay. What's what's a marketing or business growth hack that you really swear by? What's a little secret sauce that you use?
Business growth, you have to define your processes early and often, and define them early and test them often and change them as needed.
Yeah, testing is so important. What's a bucket list item you've already accomplished in your life?
This business.
Moving out of your mom's basement.
Yeah. I would say this business. I adore what we do. And it was never on my bucket list to start, but we have been not unfortunate, extremely fortunate to have won local, national, and global awards as of the work or for the work we have done. And that's been the great pride of my life outside of my children and my husband, obviously. But for my career, I mean, it's pretty spectacular knowing that that's a part of my life now.
And last question, if you could give one piece of business advice to your younger self, what would it be?
Um, do it anyway. I think it's important to live without fear and to live boldly and as authentically as possible. And I would say to anyone, and especially myself, stop second guessing the perceptions of other people and just do you and live your life to the fullest. And if that's starting a business, if that's starting a family, if that's starting whatever, do it without fear.
That's awesome advice. Finally, if our listeners want to connect with you, what's the best way for them to do so?
Yeah, the best way to connect with me is on LinkedIn. You're listening to Gabrielle Mills. If you just Google me on LinkedIn, you'll be able to find me. And if you are on social media, my Instagram is gabrielle.speaks.
Excellent. Thank you. Really appreciate you sharing your time and your insights with us. This has to have been of great value to our listeners. So thank you again, Gabrielle.
Thanks for having me, Gordon. I appreciate it.
So that's it for this episode of the Expert Spotlight podcast, where each week we talk with business leaders who are making a difference. So until next time, this is Gordon Van Wetzel wishing you success.